Check this out.
Okay. Each time when I come here, I am abused. Okay. On the street and I got my swag on. Okay. Get the money, gotta get my bag on. Okay. Triple.
What's up, future lawyers, attorneys, advocates, and judges? Welcome back to the Graveyard Shift, where we discuss every single law case that you will find in your LLB degree. And basically, I'm your girl to simplify everything. Yay! Anyways, before I even start the video, I just wanted to say Happy New Year to every single one of you guys. And I hope that you're about to start your year, whether you're going into third year, whether you're going into first year, and this is your first time going into an LLB degree, or yes, you are in your final year. Yes, you did that. Congratulations. Let's work hard. This is the final lap if you are in your last year. And let's just push as hard as you can. And also, let's not forget to get an aggregate of 66 and above so you can actually get accepted into a master's program. That's if you want to do your master's. Did you see that fly? This is the same fly. I think this is the same fly that does not want me to relay or help you guys. Anyways, as you know, judging from the title below, we are discussing Bear versus Khayelitsha. So this is quite an exciting case. To be completely honest, it's not as complicated as many cases that you will be dealing with, but this case is such a staple case. It is such a landmark case that you should know it, and you will come across it through your LLB degree. Let's get straight to the video and let's not waste time.
I ready. I ready. Let's go.
So, if ever you had a question about customary law, equality, inheritance, the first case that should come up or pop up into your mind is the Bear versus Khayelitsha case. So today we're going to look at this case and we'll find out why this particular case changed this whole inheritance law in South Africa, and why it is one of the most important by the Constitutional Court. There was a woman called uNonkululeko Lita Bear that lived in a very well-known township in Cape Town called Khayelitsha. She lived with her partner called Uvuyo Mgolombane with their two young daughters. So Mr. Mgolombane was a carpenter, and he fortunately was able to get some building materials and land through housing subsidies. Unfortunately, in 2003, he had passed away, and basically leaving all of his assets, including the land that he did acquire, to his dad. So the property and the assets fell under the BAA, which is the Black Administration Act. Hence why the father was the sole heir of his property. In terms of Section 23 of the Black Administration Act, its regulation, the deceased father was appointed as estate sole heir. So he was the only one that was going to inherit according to this act. That meant that Miss Bear, the widow of Mr. Ngolombane, and her daughters will not inherit literally anything from Mr. Ngolombane's estate. Now, fearing that she was gonna be homeless, Bear went straight to the court, and basically said to the court, guys, I'm the widow. This man is my partner. So in that case, Miss Bear and her daughters actually acquired an interdict challenging the heir's appointment. Obviously, the father, Mr. Ngolombane's father, opposed this, and he was not agreeing to all of this. Now, with this said, the High Court, the Cape Town High Court did in fact agree with Miss Bear and did declare Section 23 of the Black Administration Act, including the Regulation 2, to be invalid. Now that you know the facts of the case, let's go into the issues. So there's 3 issues that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to actually name. 1, we're going to look at the customary and succession versus the Constitution. That's the first issue. Second issue, the equality and discrimination. And third issue, statutory conflict. Let's look at the customary, succession, and Constitution first. So the core issue here was this so-called rule with regards to male primogeniture, right? Miss Bear challenged that this pre-apartheid era law basically gave males this so-called supremacy over women. She raised the issue in court, saying, does this act fall under this so-called new constitution that breeds and echoes equality? The court had to reconcile Section 211. And what does 211 say? It basically just recognizes customary law. So what the court had to do is look at the customary law, and that's Section 211 saying, okay, the Constitution itself says we do recognize customary law. However, let's look at customary law on its own, and then look at the Bill of Rights as its own. Does this affect this? And once this affects this, there needs to be a change. The second issue that was brought to us is Ms. Bear argued male primogeniture was promoting unfair discrimination on the grounds of gender and on the grounds of birth. So basically, in practical terms, what it was doing is that it was saying that women or widows could not inherit. Also, doubling down on this, daughters could not inherit anything from their parents. Then let's double down again that extramarital kids could not also inherit. They were seen as, I would love to say, not part of the family. Moving to the third issue, she challenged specifically targeting the Black Administration Act Section 23 and its regulation, which is Regulation 2, along with Section 1 of the Interstate Act. And I'll be specific. It's Section 1, subsection 4B. She basically was asking, excuse me, does this section and this section and this regulation, can it be defended by the Constitution itself? What did Bear argue? What was her argument in court? And what was the opposing counsel's argument? So let's look at Mrs. Bear's argument in court. She argued about the primogeniture rule, which she was helped by the Commission of Gender Equality, right? So they argued that this primogeniture rule thing is basically nonsense, because not only does it exclude widows, it excludes girls from inheriting from their parents. It excluded younger boys, younger males, from even inheriting from their father's estate, and excluded extramarital kids from inheriting. Now, going on to the respondent, what did the respondent actually say? What did the court say? They essentially did not oppose Ms. Bear's case. In fact, they agreed with her so much so when the case was in the Constitutional Court stage, because mind you, this case went to the Constitutional Court. So when it went actually to the Constitutional Court, the minister himself actually agreed and supported the High Court's decision on this Bear case. And the only person that was disagreeing with everything here was obviously the deceased's father. We're going to head into the decision and what did the court decide. Now we're looking at we in the Constitutional Court. So this case is actually in the Constitutional Court right now, okay? And the decision in the Constitutional Court, as per Ulanga, right? He agreed that these provisions that were brought forward was unconstitutional. And he did say that equality was the heart of the Constitution itself. He continued to say that Section 23 and Regulation 2 was discriminatory in nature and effectively wrote out women from basically anything and inheriting. The court continued to say this exclusion of women from inheriting was a huge infringement of Section 9, noting that treating women as people that are not competent to inherit or deal with certain assets or estate and placing them essentially in a position of being a minority or a minor was unfair and very degrading. They also looked at the position of an extramarital child as well, and saw not only does this violate women, but it also violated the children and their dignity. The court also declared Section 23 and Regulation 2 to be invalid, and also invalidated Interstate Succession Act Section 1. To be specific, Section 1, subsection 4b. The same way the High Court had ordered. Now, the most important thing in this case, Judge Langa said, the male primogeniture rule cannot be reconciled. And he also did not try to attempt to develop the rule. He was just like, listen, this rule needs to go out. Get out the window. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Adios. So he did not try to read it down, read it up, read it in between, make it wide, make it narrow. He just said, listen, we're not going to keep this thing. Let's get it out. So the remedies here was that the court refused to delay the order. Constitutional Court also adopted the High Court's remedy. Like I said in the beginning, that the Constitutional Court was basically reiterating what the High Court had said. What the High Court was saying is that until Parliament brings something new to the table, according to the intestate succession for Black estates, from now on, anything dealing with Black estate or in terms of Black people's estate, it's going to follow the general intestate succession act. This essentially ensured that widows and children and everyone that's supposed to benefits. They also stated that anyone that has been married in terms of polygamy, they also introduced the surviving spouses may get a child share. And then finally, the court had stated that Miss Bear and her children, her two daughters, were the final heirs. They were the correct heirs. Now let's look at the significance and the impact of this case. Why is it so famous? Why is it so important? So the Bear case essentially wiped out this male primogeniture rule that only male can inherit. By the court invalidating this whole process and these rules, these sections, they were essentially helping Black families from this huge drama of no, only the males should inherit. So it paved the way for this new act to come through, or this new act to be enacted, which was in force in 2010. So without the Bear case and the judges saying, you need to come up with something new. And the something new is this one, 11 of 2009. Yeah, that's what Bear did. So this new act that was enacted in that came in 2009, but was enforced in 2010. This codified equal inheritance, and it also helped with coming up with a template for polygamous marriages with regards to the child share. After this case, right, another thing that is important to note is that after the Bear case, it was said there will be no widow that will no longer be able to not inherit from your husband's, your spouse, your partner's estate. This case kind of paved the way to that nonsense will be destroyed. There's no such thing as a woman will not be able to inherit only because the husband's estate is under customary law. Bear also demonstrated the Constitution's transformative ways. Finally, and to end this case, because we are all done, Bear has become such a touchstone case in customary law, marital laws, or marital regimes, and gender justice. Oh, woo! That is it for this case. That is the Bear versus Khayelitsha case. This case is such a phenomenal case. It hit so many targeted areas in law that needed to be targeted. And an amazing thing about this case is that we're still using it. We still referring to it. We still citing from it. Like I said in the beginning, like I said towards the end, it is a touchstone case. And you will see this case come up in other cases that court kind of used this case as a referral. So I hope you understood this case. If there's anything that you did not hear, or you feel like I rushed through it, please let me know in the comments below. Let's engage with each other. If you have other exam questions that you want me to answer and give you like a skeletal version of the answer, please guys, put down your answers. I will help you. Now, and if you are a legal practitioner or you have been a legal practitioner for years, I am still wet behind the ears. So I'm still a baby in this industry. Please, if there's something that I did not add or I did not emphasize, I would be 100% grateful for you guys to just come into the video and teach me as well. I'm still learning as well, and I'm willing to be helped. So that brings us right to the end of the video. So with that said, Happy New Year again. Enjoy 2026. I will be here for a very long time. And if you need help, please contact your girl. You know that's your girl. Okay? Anyways, if you want to catch me on my other socials so you can have fun with me, because I am a little bit of cray-cray. It's not all about academics, you know. It's not all about the academics. So if you still want to catch me and have fun on other videos so you can see what I'm up to, you can follow me on my socials, on my Instagram, my YouTube channel. Yes, let's get that to 100K. Yes. And TikTok. Alrighty. Have a great year, guys. And if you're doing your first year, welcome to law. You are going to love it. Cheers.